Hey guys, Turbo Dog here, back at it again with another YouTube video. And in today's video, it's not going to be like most videos on my channel. I'm not going to be eating anything. I'm not going to be jumping over my own leg. We're going on a bit of a history lesson today. So in both deaf history and in baseball history. So if you didn't know, I'm a really big baseball fan, and considering there's no Major League Baseball happening right now due to the current pandemic, I figured why not just go back? Just go back. Baseball's a really old sport, and there's a lot of notable characters from, before my time, before my parents' time. And so today we're going to be looking at an interesting character. He is the first deaf position player in Major League Baseball history. Today we're going to be looking at the life and career of Dummy Hoy. Born as William Ellsworth Hoy, Dummy Hoy was born on May 23rd, 1862 in Hucktown, Ohio. At the age of 3, Hoy contracted meningitis, which is how he became deaf, and it's where the nickname Dummy came from, because in the 19th century, if a person was deaf and mute, they can't speak, they were just called dumb, and that's just how society worked back then. It's not politically correct now, it's extremely wrong, but that's how it worked back then. At the age of 10, Dummy Hoy enrolled into the Ohio State School for the Deaf, and it's where his love for baseball began. He would see the older kids playing baseball and he'd want to play with them, but the older kids wouldn't let Dummy Hoy play with them because of how small he was. Even as a professional baseball player, Dummy Hoy only grew up to be 5'4" and weighed in at 145 pounds. In 1879, at the age of 17, Hoy graduated as a valedictorian, and after school, he went to work as a cobbler in his town's local shoe store. He continued to play baseball, just for fun though as an amateur, until one day, when playing, a scout was impressed by how strong Hoy's arm was, and that was the beginning of his professional baseball career. 1886 was Dummy Hoy's professional baseball debut, and he made that debut with the Oshkosh Baseball Club of the Northwestern League. His 1886 numbers, they weren't impressive, only having a .219 batting average. The reason for this, though, was it was a time before umpires made hand signals for balls and strikes. And so Hoy would be batting, the pitch would go by, he didn't know if it was a ball or a strike, and by the time he looked back to try and read the umpire's lips of what he called, it was already too late. And so Hoy, for most of the 1886 season, was clueless of what the count was. However, the next season in 1887, Hoy had an amazing season with an over .300 batting average. So how did that happen? Well, Dummy Hoy, along with his manager Frank Seeley, developed a ball and strike system, so when the pitch went by, instead of Hoy having to look at the umpire and try and guess what the call was, instead now, all he has to do is look over to the third base's coach box, and Seeley, using the sign language that Hoy taught him, if it was a strike, he would fingerspell S-T-R-I-K-E, and if it was a ball, B-A-L-L. By using this hand signal system, Hoy was able to know what the count was, and that was the origination of using hand signals for balls and strikes. And so, by having Frank Seeley sign out strike and ball to Dummy Hoy, it was a very good idea. However, the system wasn't perfect. During a dark and foggy night on 1887, Hoy was having a hard time seeing Seeley deliver the signs. And so, he wrote down on a piece of paper and asked the umpire if the umpire would be the one to sign out strike or ball. And that's the beginning of umpires using hand signals to signify whether the pitch was a strike or a ball. And so, with the new improved hand signaling system for strikes and balls, the Oshkosh Baseball Club was able to take the Northwestern League pennant with a 76-41 record. 1888 was Dummy Hoy's first year in Major League Baseball when he played with the Washington Nationals. No, not those Washington Nationals. Those Washington Nationals. As a rookie, he led the National League with 82 stolen bases and also had a .374 on-base percentage. In 1889, Hoy's second season with Major League Baseball, playing center field for the Washington Nationals, in one game he threw out 3 runners at home, a feat that has only been done twice since Hoy did it. In 1890, Hoy left the Washington Nationals and played one season for the Buffalo Bisons of the Players League. And then in 1891, he again had another one-season stint with the team, This time, it was the St. Louis Browns of the American Association League, a season where the Browns finished second place in the standings. Now at the age of 30, in 1892, Dummy Hoy returned to the Washington Nationals, where he also brought back his speed, contact hitting, and amazing defensive skills. Because it's 19th century baseball, most fields didn't have fences, so any spectator can just wander on by. According to legend, one time Hoy was chasing down a deep fly ball, climbed up on a horse that was in deep center field, stood on it, and made the catch. Now, I don't know the legitimacy of that story, but if it's true, that is very, very impressive. In 1894, Hoy played his first season for the Cincinnati Reds, a season where he had a .304 batting average and an .853 OPS. Hoy stayed with the Reds until 1898, where he was traded to the Louisville Colonels. In Louisville, this is where Hoy had some of his most well-known teammates, including Hall of Famers Fred Clark and Honus Wagner. At the turn of the century, in the year 1900, Dummy Hoy played for the Chicago White Stockings. However, his stats from this season don't count to his major league totals because the White Stockings weren't seen as a major league team. This changed in 1901 when the White Stockings were made an American League team. In 1901, Dummy Hoy also made baseball history by hitting the first grand slam in American League history. 1902 was Dummy Hoy's last season in Major League Baseball when he played one more season with the Cincinnati Reds. It was also the season he had a .290 batting average and a .389 on-base percentage. 1903 was Dummy Hoy's last season in professional baseball, where he played with the Los Angeles Angels. No, not those LA Angels, these LA Angels, in the Pacific Coast League. In 1903, Hoy played all 212 games of the Angel season, where the team won the Pacific Coast League Championship with a record of 133-78. And yeah, you heard me right, 212 games. That's how long the Pacific Coast League season was in 1903. For modern comparison, the Major League Baseball season is 162 games. After baseball, Dummy Hoy lived a peaceful life as a farmer in Mount Healthy, Ohio, with his wife, Anna Maria Lowry, who was also deaf. Dummy Hoy's last public appearance was in 1961 at the age of 99 when he threw out the first pitch in the 1961 World Series between the Cincinnati Reds and the New York Yankees. And in December of that year, Dummy Hoy passed away, being the last surviving player of someone who played in the Players League and someone who also played in the American Association. Dummy Hoy had many accomplishments in his career, with about 600 career steals. His 274 outfield assists is 14th all-time in that category, and in 1902 he was a part of history when he was the first and to date only instance of being a deaf batter against a deaf pitcher, when on May 26th, 3 days after Hoy's 40th birthday, he hit a single off pitcher Dummy Taylor. The last deaf person to play Major League Baseball was Curtis Pride, who went back and forth between the majors and minors between 1993 to 2006. Curtis Pride is still involved in baseball, being an MLB ambassador for inclusion, and is currently the head coach of Gallaudet University's baseball team, where the Gallaudet Bison play on Hoy Field, of course, named after Dummy Hoy, who has a plaque in his honor at the field. In 2003, Dummy Hoy was put into the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame, but should he be in the National Baseball Hall of Fame? That's an argument that a lot of people have been making for years now, and personally, he does have a very good case for being a Hall of Famer. I mean, if you look at his numbers alone, they're very impressive for late 1800s hitters, and I know the entire case shouldn't be evolved around because he's deaf, but you can't take that away. Being a deaf person in a hearing world and still being able to play better than most of the people in your league, that's something that I think that should be taken into a little bit of consideration. And so that concludes this video. If you guys enjoyed this little history lesson in baseball history, make sure you click that like button, comment if you want to see me talk about any more players, subscribe for more great content just like this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.